Being cleared for exercise at your 6-week checkup with your OBGYN and being ready to actually exercise are two completely different things, and nobody tells us that. Today, we are talking about what postpartum fitness actually looks like. So the real progression from the day you have your baby to getting back under a barbell and beyond. Whether you're 6 weeks postpartum, 6 months, or 3 years out, this episode is really going to change how you think about your body and what it actually needs. Enjoy today's episode. Feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, or like you've lost yourself in the postpartum chaos? Whether you're 4 weeks postpartum, 2 years in, or done having babies, you deserve to feel like yourself again. Hey mama, I'm Val, a functional sports dietitian, postpartum fitness coach, and a mama who understands exactly what you're going through. Welcome to the Strong and Nourished Mama podcast, where you'll find simple, science-backed strategies to heal your core, rebuild strength, and restore your energy without the overwhelm. If you're ready to go from depleted to strong, nourished, and unstoppable, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hey, and welcome back to Strong and Nourished Mama. My name is Val. I'm your host. And before we dive into today's episode, I want to read a quick review that came in from Max. She said, I highly recommend this podcast. The episodes are easy to listen to and full of helpful tips on nutrition, fitness, and building healthy habits after giving birth. Such a supportive and refreshing podcast for postpartum mothers. Max, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time to write that amazing review. It means the world to me. And reviews like this help other moms find the podcast. Speaking of which, if you haven't left a review yet, please do. It takes 2 minutes. Head to Apple Podcasts, scroll all the way to the bottom, leave your review. I read every single one. Now, here's something I want you to think about. You cannot build strength on an empty tank. What you eat directly supports the work your body is doing to heal, rebuild, and get strong again postpartum, and protein is the most important piece of that puzzle. Today, we're going to be talking about exercise and what you can do from the moment you give birth, maybe not the exact moment, right? But some things that you can do after you have your baby to even 3 years postpartum. And protein is going to help you in that process. If you don't have my protein pack snack guide yet, go grab it now. Head to wellnessbyval.com/protein snack guide. It's going to tell you exactly how much protein you need as an active mom. It's going to give you my power snack formula and has 6 recipes that you can make in minutes. The link is also in the show notes. It's going to be sent straight to you. Again, it's at wellnessbyval.com/protein snack guide. Okay, now let's get into something that is going to hit really close to home today. And I'm going to start by ruffling some feathers a bit because it needs to be said. So let's talk about it. Being cleared for exercise at your 6-week postpartum checkup with your doctor does not mean that your body is ready to jump back into your pre-baby workouts or ready to start going to the gym, right? It does not mean you can go back to CrossFit. It does not mean that you can start running again. It does not mean that you can pick up where you left off with heavy lifting or high intensity classes. What it means at the 6-week appointment, the 6-week checkup post-birth with your doctor, what it means is that your provider has looked at you and confirmed that there are no major medical concerns. That's it. Like, hey, you're good. Uterus looks great. You're healing really well. That's awesome. That is all that clearance means. And I say this not to scare you and not to be the fun police. You know me, I love exercise, I love movement, but I say it because I see this over and over and over again. Moms come to me months or even years postpartum still dealing with leaking during workouts, leaking when they're playing with their kiddos, low back pain that won't go away, a core that feels completely disconnected, and a body that just doesn't feel like it's responding the way it should. And when we trace it back, almost always, the root cause is doing too much too soon before the foundation was in place. I remember after I had my little girl, I can't remember how many months she was. I think she was 2 months. And my husband was competing in a CrossFit competition, a local CrossFit competition. I went to support. Obviously, I did not partake in that, but I went to support. And there was a woman there. It was a partner competition, so she was with her husband. And I heard her talking to some people about her peeing her pants. And she's like, well, I just gave birth not too long ago. And I thought about myself, like I gave birth 2 months from where I was at that point, and I was thinking, like, there's no way in hell, one, that I would want to do this shit, and two, that my body would be able to handle that intensity, that load, that soon after birth. Now, that doesn't mean that I would never be able to do that again. And it doesn't mean that some people can't do that 2 months, 4 months postpartum. Everyone is different in their healing process. But I say that and I bring up that story because I think it's really helpful, because sometimes we think that we can go back to what we were doing. And we really need to first start out with the foundation. So today we are building that foundation together. I'm going to walk you through exactly what postpartum fitness looks like, the real progression, and I'm going to give you a roadmap that actually works no matter where you're starting from. So I have another story, and it's actually about a client of mine that I had. And during her first pregnancy and her first postpartum period, she didn't focus on breathing, core work, pelvic floor connection at all. She just went back to exercising when she felt ready. And for a while, she felt fine until, of course, she didn't. When she got pregnant with her second baby, she found my program and started doing the core and the pelvic floor work during pregnancy. She was like, Val, can I join this program even though I'm pregnant? I said, yes, hell yes, of course. This is actually perfect because you're going to be postpartum, right? So she integrated it into her existing workout routine. And then she continued postpartum, working through the phases the right way this time around. And the difference was day and night, she said. She said with her second baby, who is now almost a year and a half old, she feels stronger, more connected, more capable than she has ever felt, especially compared to her first, right? And my client, she's not lucky. She just had a roadmap this time. She knew what to do. She knew where to start, how to progress, and what to pay attention to. This is what today's episode is. Again, it's your roadmap. Here's the thing I want you to really sit with before we get into the different phases. Your postpartum body is not broken. And it's not a broken version of your pre-baby body. It is a reorganized one. That's what it is. Your core has been stretched and displaced and things have moved around. Your pelvic floor has been under an enormous amount of pressure for 9 months and then went through one of the most physically demanding events a human body can literally experience. Your nervous system has been through a major event. Your hormones have shifted completely. And just like you would not go back to heavy squats the week after a knee surgery, like when you think about that, that's like, well, that doesn't sound smart, right? You can't expect your postpartum body to just pick up where it left off without first rebuilding what was disrupted. And this can be hard. And this is something that I talk about in my group coaching program with my clients is athlete brain, where your brain's like, well, I used to do this before pregnancy. I was able to still lift and exercise during pregnancy. I should be able to do that now. Even though I already had my baby, it was 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago, whenever it was, I should be able to go back to those things like right now. Your brain wants to take you there. And your brain sometimes thinks your body is ready before it actually is. Now, the good news, this process is not complicated. It's not complicated. It's progressive. It builds on top of one another. And it works at any stage, whether you're 6 days postpartum or 6 years postpartum. Okay? I want to say that again because I literally mean it. It is never, ever too late to go back to the foundation. Okay, so let's talk about these different phases. There's 3 different phases, and before we really dissect each phase, I want to say something really important. These phases come with general timeframes, but how you progress through each of the phases, it's really going to depend entirely on how your body responds. This is a podcast. I am, of course, a sports dietitian. I am a strength coach, but I may not be your sports dietitian and strength coach. Like if we're not working one-on-one together, I am not your sports dietitian. I am not your strength coach. I cannot just tell you what to do. I don't know your background, your history, what your goals are. So this is going to be general information. And I want you to just understand these phases and make sure that you're working with someone who can actually take you through these phases. And I want to make sure that that's said. That's just a little disclaimer because I don't want you to think that I'm telling you to do something, you go do it, and then things end up being worse or you hurt yourself or whatever it is, okay? Now, some moms are going to move through these phases faster. Some are going to move through them a little bit slower. Sometimes, and what I've noticed with myself since I've had my daughter, is you're going to progress and then you kind of like plateau a little bit, and then you progress and then you plateau a little bit. It's never too late. So like 3 weeks ago, I was about to do a little mini Metcon after metabolic conditioning workout after I lifted, where I'm just going to take up my heart rate and work through different exercises. And it included running, and it included box jumps, burpees, and jump rope. Before I went into that, I already knew my pelvic floor was tired because I lifted right before. Before I went into that little mini Metcon, I did my core connection work. I did the things that I'm teaching you in these different phases and what I teach to my clients and in my programs. And it helped tremendously. And I'm almost 3 years postpartum. So again, it's never too late. If you're someone who is already back to exercising and you never did this foundational work, that's okay. Guess what? You can keep exercising, keep doing your thing, and you can integrate phase 1 into the work that you're already doing. Maybe it's as a warm-up, maybe it's as a cool down, as breaks throughout your day, maybe it's as part of your pre-bed routine. Meet yourself where you are. Okay, let's get into it. Phase 1 is breathe and connect. Now, when can you do this? When can you start this phase? Literally, start it in the hospital. Start in the hospital after you recover and rest, get some sleep, some hydration, and some fuel, and cuddle your babe. You can start in the hospital. I started the day after I had my baby, and when I was still in the hospital. I was in the hospital for 2 nights. I had my daughter at 6 p.m., and so, of course, tried to sleep that first night, which you don't. Anyways, then the second night is when the second day is when I actually started this phase 1. It's appropriate for all early postpartum mamas, and then of course beyond. This is where everything starts. That's why it's phase 1. And I know some of you are thinking, Val, I've been breathing my whole damn life. Why do I have to practice that? But I promise you, this is different. This is different. So let's talk about diaphragmatic breathing. Here's what I want you to do, and you can practice it as you're listening to this. If you're doing the dishes, if you're driving, whatever you're doing, practice it now. Inhale through your nose, and as you inhale, let your belly expand. Your chest may move a little bit, but maybe let's try to really focus on the belly and keeping the pelvic floor relaxed, especially when you exhale. So you inhale through the nose, you let your belly expand, and then you exhale fully, letting the belly fall and relax while keeping the pelvic floor relaxed. This is diaphragmatic breathing. You're using your diaphragm and you're expanding. Everything's expanding and opening up. And those ribs may be doing that as well. You may feel that. Sometimes you can put your hands on your ribs or your belly to be able to really, really experience this breathing technique. Now, this single practice done consistently is doing more for your core and your nervous system than most people realize, especially if you're still in the hospital, you're still recovering, if you've had a stressed day, whenever, okay? When you breathe using your diaphragm, which we should be doing, but I think a lot of us, we've gotten to a point where we're actually using our upper body. But when you breathe diaphragmatically, you are activating your deep core. You're using your diaphragm muscle. You're regulating intra-abdominal pressure. You're supporting your pelvic floor all at the same time because you're also keeping it relaxed. And you're also supporting your nervous system. So you can do this in the hospital bed the day after you deliver. You can do it while you're nursing. You can do it sitting in the car line waiting to pick up your kids. It costs you nothing, and it is the single most important thing you can do for your postpartum body right now and probably for the rest of your life. Okay, I am teaching my daughter, my almost 3-year-old, how to do deep breaths, and it's done wonders for especially tantrums or when she's sad and before bed. It's amazing. I want you to practice it in different positions. So maybe you lie on your back with your feet flat on the ground. Maybe you're sitting up with your back supported. Maybe you're in a tabletop position on your hands and your knees. Each position challenges your system a little bit differently, and it helps build that body awareness. Now let's move into stability breathing and transverse abdominis activation. So once the basic breath feels natural, we layer in what I call stability breathing. This is where you engage your transverse abdominis, your deepest abdominal core muscle, okay? It's that core set muscle, along with your pelvic floor, creating 360 degrees of support around your trunk, around your torso. Here's something that trips a lot of moms up. Your pelvic floor needs to be able to relax just as much as it needs to contract. So this is not just about squeezing and holding and doing Kegels all the time. When you move your body, when you walk, when you lift, when you exercise, when you laugh and sneeze and basically live your life, your pelvic floor is constantly contracting and relaxing in response. We need to train both. Most mamas that I work with, they need more relaxation, myself included. We need more relaxation than that contraction. But of course, we got to practice both. Start practicing stability breathing during your daily activities. When you pick up your baby, exhale and brace. You're going to breathe into the ribs. You're going to maintain that expansion 360 degrees around while breathing and while moving. When you lift heavy groceries, exhale and brace. Before you get up off the floor, exhale and brace. Every single one of those movements is a phase 1 training opportunity. And that's really helpful because a lot of the times outside of exercise and in our activities of daily living, I hear moms, I hear other, even men, like all kinds of people tell me, man, I hurt my back just like standing up from the ground, or I hurt my back just picking up my toddler or picking up the groceries. We have to be able to train this system, especially after we have a baby. And this is something that's going to be included in that phase 1. Now, something else that's included in phase 1, walking. Walking, the best. Please do not underestimate walking in phase 1, okay? Gentle walking is one of the best things you can do in those early postpartum weeks. Now, I'm not saying, hey, go for a power walk and walk for 80 minutes. No, like start with 2 minutes. Start with 5 to 10 minutes. Slowly work your way up. How does your body respond? How do you feel while you walk? Do you have the balance and the stability? Is your heart rate spiking up? I remember the day after I had my daughter, I'm walking to the bathroom in the hospital, right? Like in my room, and my heart rate felt like it was like 200 beats per minute. It was like, oh my gosh, what is happening, right? Start low with the amount and then slowly work your way up. Build from there as your body allows. Walking promotes circulation, supports your mood, it supports your nervous system, and it gently activates your core without overloading it. Keep it flat, keep it comfortable, and breathe the whole time. Then when you get home, maybe it's walking around the house. Maybe it's walking to the end of the street and back. Maybe it's to the mailbox and back. Maybe it's just around the block once and then twice and then 3 times. And then all of a sudden you're a walking queen and you feel great, right? As long as we're not having our body's not communicating like the linking, the discomfort, pain, bleeding, all of those things would be signs that we need to chill out, right? Now, your phase 1, with your phase 1, we work with movements like glute bridges, heel slides, dead bug variations, bird dogs, side lying clamshells, modified side planks, and bear holds. When done with the proper breathing techniques and the bracing techniques, these movements are incredibly powerful. So please do not skip them because they look easy. They look like, I shouldn't be doing that. That's like too easy. But they are not easy when you're doing them correctly. They are foundational. To this day, if I'm going to do a bird dog, a glute bridge, a sideline clamshell, or a bear hold, my core is on fire. So when we are bracing and breathing correctly, you're going to feel it. So I work with my clients using this framework that prioritizes this connection phase, breathing, bracing, and moving all at the same time. The question I always ask is, can you move? Can you brace? Can you breathe? All at the same time. If the answer is no, we stay in phase 1 until it is a yes. And with different movements, you may progress faster than others. Okay, so that's phase 1. Phase 2, build and progress. Generally 6 weeks to 6 months postpartum, but only when phase 1 feels solid. When you feel like, man, I have a solid base, I can start to move up, that's when we're going to go to phase 2. Phase 2 is where we start to build on that foundation. The movements get more demanding. They require more stability. They increase abdominal pressure. So they're going to require more control with that intra-abdominal pressure, more coordination, more neuromuscular connection. Now, a great example is in phase 1, you might be doing a modified side plank. In phase 2, you progress to a full side plank. Same movement pattern, but now your body has to work significantly harder to control the pressure and maintain stability and breathe throughout this movement. The progression is intentional. That is how we build. This is also where you might be getting back into the gym, picking up some dumbbells, working with a barbell, starting to add load to your movements. And this is where the breathing cue comes in. It's even more critical here. It's even more critical when you pick up that external load. Exhale on the exertion. Brace your core before you move. Control every rep. Don't hold your breath. Try to move with it, okay? Think of it like traditional progressive overload and strength training. You don't just stay at the same weight forever. You don't just start at a super heavy weight either, right? You increase the challenge as your body adapts. Phase 2 is that increase. Walking in phase 2, it becomes more intentional. You can start to add distance, add hills, increase your pace. The walk becomes a training tool, not just a recovery walk. Phase 2 is a lot of fun. Now, with phase 2, we may play around with some intensity, but really your intensity is adding that external load. That's your intensity, okay? So I don't want you to just jump back into like burpee box jump overs or something like that. Now, phase 3, load, integrate, and power. When do we do this phase? Generally 6 months and beyond, or when phase 2 is well established. Phase 3 is where things get super fun. Super fun. This is where we start to integrate higher intensity work, the jumping, the plyometrics, the heavier loading, the more complex movement patterns. This is for the mom who wants to get back to CrossFit, get back to running, to high rocks, to lifting heavy and feeling genuinely powerful. But here is what I need you to hear. Phase 3 is not a free-for-all. Your pelvic floor and your core have to be able to handle the demand. The breathing cues don't disappear. They become even more critical as the intensity increases. So as you continue to practice phase 1, it's not like once you move to phase 3, phase 1 and phase 2 you're done. Like you just set it and forget it, right? Like you have to keep practicing that. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes for your body just to do it. Okay, I inhale as I go down for my squat. I exhale as I stand up. And you brace and you move and breathe at the same time, and you don't have to think about it as much. That's super, super cool. Now, walking in phase 3, it can include incline, speed work, a weighted vest, or you can transition into a run-walk program if running is your goal. Now, something I probably should have mentioned earlier is hopefully throughout this journey, you are meeting with a pelvic floor physical therapist. You're meeting with a strength coach. You're meeting with providers and people and professionals. It's as this like cohesive team, right? To be able to help with your recovery. And especially in that early postpartum period, meeting with a pelvic floor physical therapist is I think it's essential. And I always recommend my clients to go see one. And I always refer my local clients to local pelvic floor PTs in the community because they do amazing work. And it's really nice for you to be able to work with them and then come work with me as a strength coach and as a dietitian. Now, I'm going to say this one final time because it matters. It matters. These phases are not locked to a calendar, okay? A mom at 8 months postpartum who never did phase 1 starts at phase 1. A mom at 4 months postpartum who has been consistent and is progressing, well, she might be ready for phase 3 elements. Your body tells you where you are, not the clock, not the calendar, or how many months your baby is. Now let's talk about red flags, when to slow down. We have to before we move on. These are the signs that you are progressing too fast, too quickly, and your body is asking to back up a bit, to slow down. Girlfriend, we need to chill out a little bit, or we need some more love in this area, or some more love in that area. Number 1, leaking. Any peeing or stool during exercise or daily activities, sneezing, laughing, jumping on the trampoline, lifting, running, this is not normal. This is not normal, and it's actually very common, especially in athletes, even among women who have not had a baby yet. But since you have had a baby, there's a lot more that has happened to your core, your pelvic floor, your internal organs. And so if you experience any leaking of urine or stool or even gas while you're actually exercising, this is not normal. It's very common, but it's not something that you should have to live with. Okay, so that's a sign. Number 2, pelvic pressure or heaviness, a feeling of things falling down or pressure in your pelvic floor during or after exercise. Low back or pelvic pain during or after your workouts. This is your body's way of saying the load is more than the system can currently handle. Coning or doming, this is when you see a peak or a ridge down the center of your abdomen, or maybe one section of that center during movements like a crunch, a sit-up, even a plank, or even other movements that just require more intra-abdominal pressure. Maybe you're getting back into kettlebell swings or pull-ups and kipping, things like that. So this tells us the intra-abdominal pressure is not being managed and is pushing outward rather than being contained. So if you see this, back up, practice that stability breath again, go back into it. Not being able to progress. So despite showing up consistently, if you're not noticing any progress, that is a red flag. If you've been at the same place for weeks and nothing is improving, something foundational needs attention. Holding your breath during movement. This one is so common and it's often missed. If you catch yourself holding your breath when you lift, when you plank, when you do anything physically demanding, it means your body has not yet learned to manage pressure with breath. That is a phase 1 problem. Go back there. None of these symptoms mean something is permanently wrong. They are signs, they are signals, and they are 100% fixable, but you have to listen to them. So please listen to them, okay? Now, one more thing before we wrap this up. If you're listening to this and thinking, I need someone to just tell me exactly what to do and when, I have something for you coming in July that I am so excited about. It's a 4-week core comeback challenge that takes you through exactly these phases progressively with full body movements built around your core. So I'm going to be sharing more details very soon. If you want to get on the waiting list to learn more information, head to wellnessbyval.com/core or head to the link in the show notes. Okay. Here's what we covered today. Being cleared at 6 weeks and being ready to exercise are not the same thing. Your postpartum body needs a progressive approach, starting with breath and connection, building through foundational movement patterns, and then progressing to load and intensity only when the foundation is solid. The 3 phases are breathe and connect, build and progress, and load, integrate, and power. And those phases aren't rigid timelines either. Your body is going to tell you where you are. So listen to it. And if you notice any of those red flags, the leaking, the pressure, the pain, coning, breath holding, slow down, back up a phase, address the foundation. It's not a setback. It is the work, and that's okay. Your 1 action item this week, just 1, practice diaphragmatic breathing for 5 minutes today. And you can split that up. Maybe it's a minute here, maybe it's a minute there, maybe it's before bed, before you eat, on the ride home. Pick one position, lying down, sitting, tabletop, play with the different positions. Inhale through the nose as the belly rises, exhale as the belly falls. Maybe you do 10 rounds of it. That's it. That is phase 1, and it matters more than you think. You're going to thank me. And before I let you go, remember what I said at the beginning. You cannot build strength on an empty tank. You just can't. If you want to do the work, the breathing, the phases, the progressive training, your body needs the fuel to support it. And protein is that foundation for that, okay? Go grab my free protein pack snack guide. If you haven't yet, it has your protein targets, the power snack formula, and 6 recipes that take minutes to make. So fueling will actually fit into your real mom life. I know you're super busy. Head to wellnessbyval.com/protein snack guide or head to the link in the show notes. It's completely free. Thank you so much for being here today, Mama. This episode, please share it with a mom in your circle. I know there is a mom in your life who went back to CrossFit or running at 6 weeks and needs to hear this. Or maybe it's a mom who is currently pregnant and can get ahead of it. Send it to her. Stay strong, stay nourished, and I'll see you next week. Hey Mama, I hope you loved today's episode. If you got something out of it or simply enjoyed listening, would you please take 30 seconds to share it with another mom who could use the support? And if you haven't yet, I would be so grateful if you could leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you tune in. It truly means the world to me and it helps the show reach more amazing moms like you. All right, time to go chase my toddler around, stay strong and nourished, and I'll be back on Monday with another episode. Talk soon.